Poker face, poker face.
Audio edit. Yeah. Dude, Pokemon doesn't look bad.
Dude, Pokemon looks great.
It might be alright.
It might actually be alright, and I can't even imagine. Hey, Steven, what did we just watch?
We saw Eddie Redmayne 2 battles the Grindelwald Depp.
Except for they didn't really do any...
We saw Eddie Redmayne 2 looks at Grindelwald Depp.
A lot.
A couple times. And fights off Grindelwald's spells occasionally.
Yeah, so we just watched The Crimes of Grindelwald, the second movie in the Fantastic Beast series, which they're calling the Wizarding World series, apparently.
Well, no, it's in the Wizarding World universe, like like Marvel.
It was weird that got its own like little title. I was interested in that.
So, if you saw the first one, you know that Grindelwald is, well, you know from regular like canon Harry Potter that Grindelwald is like one of the powerful wizards that was friends with Dumbledore, and he sat out the Elder Wand, or had it made for him, or whatever. The Great Wand. The fucking giant wand.
The Elder Wand, yeah. You were right.
But, anyway, so...
one wand to rule them all.
So anyway, if you saw the first Fantastic Beasts, this is a continuation of it. It's... So you saw at the end of the first one, Grindelwald revealed himself to be Grindelwald, and then he was arrested by the Americans, and then for some reason, of course, in the beginning he's being transferred, and then it goes from there, like a lot of movies seem to. Anyway, Tim, what do you think this got on Rotten Tomatoes?
Okay, I'm guessing fans gave it a 75. And I'm guessing critics gave it like a 60.
Okay. I don't actually know the audience score, but the critics gave it a 49.
Ooh, I was right. Well, I mean, I wasn't right, but I was accurate in believing that it would not score incredibly well.
Audience score 71. Pretty close.
Yes! I was 1 point off!
Nice.
Okay, so I expected that, because any new Harry Potter content, I expect fans to be happy about it. They'll be like, yes, more Harry Potter content, it expands the worlds. But I think all the reasons those massive Harry Potter fans liked this movie are all the reasons I hated this movie.
Hated?
No, sorry, I didn't hate this movie. I liked this movie.
What?
But
you can't say you hated it and you liked it. That's impossible.
Okay, I liked it, but I had a lot of problems with it. But one of the biggest problems I had with it is it was pandering to that Harry Potter universe.
True.
Really, really heavily.
True.
One of the things that I liked about the first movie, the first Fantastic Beasts movie that is it felt like it was its own entity in the Harry Potter universe.
True.
All the characters were new, the stories were new, nothing really intersected with anything we knew about the worlds. And that's what I liked about it. It was fresh and new and it felt different. This movie pretty much from the get-go was like, hey, you remember this character? Here's a younger version of them. Hey, you remember this character? Here's a not animal version of them.
You remember this character? Here's a version of them that, they're characters that you only heard about in theory that actually appear in this. But speaking to that, some of the pandering I thought was pretty cool, and I'm interested to see how certain characters got from one place to another. It was definitely very obvious. It's like, oh, hey, professor that's in the movies later, like, you look young today. Like, it's extremely, I don't want to give too many Easter eggs away, but Jude Law plays Dumbledore, which I thought he did a good job with.
Yeah, he was great.
He did a good job of almost imitating the original actor for Dumbledore, the very soft-spoken, like, awesome dude, and then he was, replaced when he died, obviously. But, yeah, I didn't think Jude Law was bad. So, I enjoyed this experience. I thought it was fun. It was a bit long. 2.5 hours, which I didn't quite know going into it. It's quite a commitment. I thought Johnny Depp did a good job, Johnny Depp can really be hit or miss for me. Sometimes I feel like he just plays the same character over and over again. But I think he was good. I mean, he was a good bad guy in this. And I think they added a lot of depth to Grindelwald and some pretty actually intense moments, like, which I was surprised by.
Grindelwald actually speaking are some of the best bits, in that his desires, his reasons for everything. It's one of those, you're like, okay, I can see where he's coming from. He's not pure evil.
He's charming and he's well spoken, and he has a vision that he's trying to get across that sounds like a good thing. Although if that's his actual agenda, who knows? But it did do a good job of complicating the character. He's much more dimensional than Voldemort.
I liked Harry Potter a lot, but I don't even remember what Voldemort really even wanted, other than to be just sort of a dick.
Yeah, he wanted. Well, I think he just wanted purebloods. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know, but yes.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, it's hard to know what I'm sure Gabi would know, because what Voldemort's motivation was. But
true. But yeah, Grindelwald was very believable. I liked Grindelwald a lot.
And they explored a little more of Dumbledore's relationship with Grindelwald, which you heard about. And
I thought that was well done.
I thought it was well done too.
It was very, very, very tame. I expected it to be a bigger point of interest than it actually was, which I'm glad that was the case.
I mean, Eddie Redmayne was awesome. He didn't like shine, but he's a good actor. I mean, he's easy for me to believe. One
of the issues I had with the character, or the movie in general, is everyone just sort of felt like they were just sort of there, kind of watching this happen. Like they were the vehicle for you to see what happens.
This was definitely a very transitional movie. It's almost like Guardians 2. It's necessary to get to another part, but it's when you're watching it. Sometimes I was in the beginning, especially. I didn't even quite know if I would stay awake. I love movies, and there were definitely, there's some good action scenes, and I really think it hit its stride with Grindelwald. Grindelwald was definitely you were drawn to him in a way.
Yeah, it's interesting because I felt like at times all the other characters, kind of like what I was saying before, they felt like vehicles for you sort of seeing the plot happen. Yeah. But it felt like they just sort of added in stuff for those characters to do.
Yeah.
They added in the romance, the drama-y stuff. The drama in this movie is laid maybe a little more thickly than what should have felt natural. It felt very shoehorned in. They sort of set it up as a series of unfortunate misunderstandings that really don't even totally get resolved in any capacity. It was weird. That whole drama, relationship stuff, well, half of it. Some of it's actually interesting, but I'll just say that the stuff with Newt and what's her face, Tina was it didn't feel like anything. It just kind of happens. And
it wasn't. Well, I mean, you'll have to see for yourself.
Yeah, there was some boring. There was a lot of boring bits of them just sort of sussing out. So this whole movie is framed as sort of like a mystery, and the setup is good, and they do a good job of. It felt like a proper Harry Potter story in that regard. There was this overarching mystery that was sort of slowly being taken down, and the very last scene of the movie sort of reveals sort of what everyone was trying to figure out the entire movie, and it was good up until that. That was all very interesting. I quite liked how the movie sort of wrapped it all up.
No, I did too.
But But yes, this movie felt very, very much like it was a stage for a better movie to come.
Which I think there's a lot of good stuff for there to be a better movie to come. I believe it's going to be a trilogy. I think that's it. Or maybe there's 4 movies. I hope not. But it wasn't as light. It wasn't as magical as the last one. I don't even know what I mean by that. But the last one, see all the beasts, and it was really cute. And this time they're sometimes just kind of thrown in there. Sometimes they're useful.
I felt like almost all the scenes with all the beasts felt very thrown in there to give something for Newt to do in the movie.
They do make it integral. They make it important at some point. I don't think anybody's like gonna go crazy about how good this movie was, but I didn't hate it. I liked it more than other movies I've seen in the past month, and I liked it more than Bohemian Rhapsody. And
it was a good-looking movie.
It was good looking.
All the spells and all of that looked really good. Nothing felt CGI'd, and even the beasts felt pretty. Like, they looked pretty decent. They weren't like disgusting CGI.
One thing that I do like about both of these, the first Fantastic Beasts and Crimes of Grindelwald, I like that they're expanding the Harry Potter world, and what I mean is it's not just British people, it's not just white people, which I know there were Hogwarts students that were minorities, but it talks about like Senegalese wizard, which is cool. I mean, because you think about like if this is a thing across the world, like how many different cultures practice witchcraft and wizardry, and what are the differences, and it doesn't make like heavy references to it, but you have characters mixed in that are different.
It does it subtly, and it does it well.
And I thought that was cool. I think expanding the world is cool. I mean,
ooh. I know something I really liked. I really liked how this movie integrated, events in the real world to... That was very interesting. I was like, I had never thought about any of that before, but now that I think about it, that is an interesting thought.
That was probably the best part of the movie, was the way they made historical allusions, how they used them. I mean, it brought you...
you back to reality very heavily in that one moment.
In a very heavy way. Those allusions to history that bring back to reality made you question, like, how bad is Grindelwald? I mean, he's bad, but you also, it morally complicated things a bit, and that was cool.
But to conclude, I think this is a good enough movie as a transition movie, but all the things that this movie did really well, which is to set up the next movie, it did phenomenally. It got you on board with where everyone's at, what their motivations are, who everyone is, where they're from, what their names are. Pretty much anything to come after this, I'm sure, is going to be really good.
Yeah, I think so. I think there's a lot to work with. I think now that they're delving into this, I think there's so much to work with the entire Harry Potter world or universe or whatever. I mean, there's a lot there that they can do now. Whether or not they should, I don't know. But
true.
Yeah, if you like Harry Potter, go see it. If you liked the first Fantastic Beasts, you're gonna go see it anyway. So,
yeah.
Or just say fuck it and not invest in something that's so...
Yeah, if you weren't heavily invested in the first one...
If you weren't heavily invested in Harry Potter itself, if you are indifferent to it, it's just going to feel like you're going to be annoyed.
Literally, the best and worst part of this movie, if you're a big Harry Potter fan, this expands a lot on the lore of the Harry Potter stuff that you know. If you're not a big Harry Potter fan, then all of the random stuff they throw in is going to feel like non-anything.
If you're not a Harry Potter fan, I mean, this is just going to be a long, annoying, like, silly thing. For some reason, this movie alone, I felt the most like maybe this is childish. And that's weird because it wasn't all childish content, but it really made me think about the fact that Harry Potter was a kid series, and we grew up with it, and I think that's we're so fascinated with it because it was our childhood.
Yeah, I get that actually. It did feel even more childish than some of the later Harry Potter movies, honestly.
Like I said, they're grown-up themes and it's grown-up content, but
especially the second half of the movie gets a little too...
it gets real.
Yeah, it gets a little real for children,
well,
I feel like. I don't think they would get the significance of that indie bit.
But, yeah, we'll see. All right, guys. Bye.
You never met a monster you couldn't love.
Let's take him.